At starting style, combined with transition behavior allow-discrete, allow us to animate and transition to and from display none, like I'm doing with this menu right here. In this example, I am using a popover and I'm just going from a display of none to a display of grid. And as you can see, I don't have an animation right now. And you can do this without it being a popover. The important thing here is I have a display of none and an opacity of 0. And here I have my opacity of 1. Now, traditionally, we wouldn't be able to do something like this with a 0.5 seconds on my display as well. So if I save that and we update it, it doesn't actually transition back and forth, but they've added a new feature to CSS, which is our transition behavior. And on the transition behavior, we can now do an allow-discrete, which means that features like our display property that are discrete animations, which means they don't really animate and would break transitions. Well, now with that, we can actually use them, except in this case, you'll see it's only working in one direction, and it's when we close that menu like we can see right there. And that's because when we do this, it's automatically just going to the end state that we have here, but then when it's going from here, the other direction, it's animating out. It's a little bit frustrating, but there is a simple solution to this, which is to add a starting style to our open state that's right here. So if you're using a class for your open state instead of a pseudo class like this one, that's completely fine. Just add it within there. We're going to do an @starting style. And in this starting style, we're just going to say that it's going to start at an opacity of 0. So it's immediately going to switch to our display grid because that's how it was already working anyway. But then the opacity will start at 0 and then transition up to 1. So now it will fade out and it will fade in, and it goes both ways. A few important things here. We always need to start here with our closed state, have your open state, and within the open state, but after the finished styles, we have these starting styles. Just because of the way the cascade works, it's a little bit strange that the starting styles of the animation are the last thing we declare, but it is how we have to work. There is a nice thing about starting style, however, which is that we can come in with things like translate of a 0, -30 pixels, let's say. I'm also going to take this, bring it here on this version, because at the end we want it to be a translate of 0, 0. And then finally, we're going to come all the way up to here where we have our transition, and we're going to add in the translate there to make sure that it can translate 0.5 seconds. And with that in place, when we open it, it will slide down a little bit and then fade away.